welcome back to Expert Speaks. Today we have guest speaker and expert, Coach Bobby Gentry. He'll be here today talking about the different aspects of leadership and how he's made impact in so many different individuals' lives. So today I am going to give him the opportunity to introduce himself and to give you insight on what aspects it takes to become an excellent leader. Thank you so much, Mr. Gentry, for being here. I really appreciate it. So please tell our audience a little bit about yourself and give a little bit of background.
Well, I just turned 75, and it's not everybody gets to elite 75.
Congratulations.
I was raised in a little town, southwest Arkansas, Stamps, Arkansas, and it was made famous by Maya Angelou's book, Now I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I'm the oldest of 7 sons. My mom and dad were blue-collar workers, but they gave us a lot of love. They taught us to be respectful, be a person of our word, etc. I played high school athletics, and I played college football at the University of Arkansas and Arkansas State University. My high school assistant coach is the reason that I coach. He had a tremendous impact on me, and he later went on to get his doctorate and be a counselor in college. I was fortunate to play on some great teams, was not a great athlete, but I was a hard worker, and that desire to coach is still with me today, some 50 years later. And I've been fortunate to coach some great athletes that have been in the NFL, some in the Olympics, different things. But the one all coaches talk about are the ones that were not the great athletes, but the ones that developed into being good players and most of all, great citizens. My rewards are all of the kids I have taught and coached through the years and the success that I see them have as they get older to be parents, grandparents, etc.
Well, I think that's absolutely wonderful. And you mentioned the reason you pursued coaching. Can you expand a little bit on what inspired you to choose this particular career?
Well, I only had one or two desires. One, I wanted to play in the NFL, or two, I wanted to coach. And needless, I had a short tryout in the NFL, but I was severely lacking in talent to play at that level. So I love working with people. And great coaches are great teachers. I want to read a quote to you from Vince Lombardi, the famous coach of the Green Bay Packers. And this is what he said. All right. Coach Lombardi said, "They call it coaching, but it is teaching. You don't just tell them it is so, you show them the reasons why it is so, and you repeat and repeat and repeat until they are convinced." And that's what teaching is all about. We all learn a different style, a different rate, and I love to teach. I love being in the classroom. I liked it a lot better than teaching PE, and everybody learns differently. Some people it takes 1 rep, some people it may take 100 reps. And my philosophy is that I never give up on them, that I start over every day. And because if I get down on them, they're never going to improve. I hold the gifted athlete to a higher standard than I hold the kid that's not going to play. Why should I take it out on the kid that's not going to play and let the gifted athlete get away with something? Here's some other principles. I never compare siblings to each other. That's not fair. And the reason I don't is I had a younger brother who was a lot better athlete than I was, and I got tired of being his older brother, and I decided I was going to become something other than his older brother. I never hold against them what their parents say. And that's just like water off me a duck, because if you coach long enough, you're going to get criticism. And the kids are not responsible for their parents. So I had certain principles. I tried to treat everybody as equally as I could, and I've been very fortunate. I've coached a lot of different sports. I've coached from 200 in high school to 5,000, I've coached and taught from elementary through college. I've coached in high school football games with 40,000 in the stands and college games with 200 in the stands. And let me promise you that I have learned a lot more from the people that I've taught and coached than I ever taught them.
And that's great that you mentioned that. Having such a wide range of individuals that you've come in contact with and those that you've taught and coached, could you tell me about any type of challenges that you've had within your particular time as a coach or a teacher?
Well, as certainly as my distinct Southern accent and dealing with people around the world and using coaches, colloquialisms and things like that, sometimes they weren't quite sure what I was exactly saying and stuff. But you know what? I've found this, that people are people. We have a whole lot more similarities than we have differences. And I'll just relate this to today's. If we'd be a lot more understanding and look for the similarities that we have in common, we'd have a lot less issues than we have today in our world.
Yes, absolutely. And we talk about leadership. As a coach, you can be considered a leader, and you have to also know those characteristics in certain individuals to place them in the right position in order to really create that team dynamic. Can you give me some qualities that you see are key qualities in becoming a leader?
Well, first of all, the best teams have great leadership among the players. And the issue is to work them hard enough, get them to bond them together, and it's like putting a puzzle together. You can have great athletes that don't play well together and you're not very good. And you can have average athletes that play well together. And just changing out one position people may make all the difference in the world as far as that. Leadership is getting people to do things that they need to do, but they don't necessarily have to do. There's basically three types of people that you're going to deal with. One is the one that think they're so studly that you have to nudge them a lot and bring them back to earth. So you have to get on them occasionally. All right, the other one is the one in the middle that you got to stroke, you got to pat them, you got to hug them, but you got to correct them and sometimes forcefully. And the last one is the one that you can't ever really get on hard. They're the ones that have lack of self-confidence, and you've got to hug them and you've got to tell them and you've got to demonstrate how that is there, build their confidence up. Confidence is the key in everything. And if you only get confidence by achieving stuff, we have issues today when people have so lack of self-confidence. Well, if you quit, don't try, that's when you become a failure. As long as I keep trying, I'm never a failure. It'll just take me a little bit to get there. There's lots of different leadership styles. Some of it is a loud vocal leader. Some is that you're quiet, you push them. The best is when you get the kids to take the leaderships and for themselves. Okay.
Nice. So really instilling confidence in individuals, letting them know that perseverance is the key. You cannot give up, and really catering to the style that they receive best, because everyone doesn't take criticism the same. Everybody doesn't learn the same. So really being able to tailor your message and cater how you deliver it is what I hear you saying is definitely key.
That is it.
Awesome.
And today people are very visual. So you have to be able to use audio-visual aids to show them exactly what to do. Kids actually learn better from their peers than they do from a coach. And I'll take a sport, pole vault. If you have one good pole vaulter, you're going to have other good pole vaulters because those guys are going to teach and learn from each other. Golfers is the same way. Place kickers, punters, etc. So it's visual today that you've got to be able to do it. Now, you've also got to use short, snappy terms to correct. And as far as example, I'll take an offensive lineman. You got to be able to say, hey, you got to take a quicker jab step. You got to do this or that. Everything has terminologies, every industry. And in coaching, you got to use quick phrases to express what you're trying to say and stuff, express what you're trying to say.
Nice. So what actually contributed to your expertise? How did you get so knowledgeable about all of these different aspects of coaching to where you are the excellent coach that you are today?
Well, age is one thing. You stay in it long enough, you go to enough clinics, and you coach enough sports. And for example, in football, I've coached every position, offensively, every position, defensively. I've been a head coach, an athletic director, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and always coached the kicking game. And so and my uniqueness is I have an ability to see the whole picture, to see techniques, and to try to get people in the right place to do it. Not everybody is a technician, and then you've got to be able to point out to the kids, this change in technique is what's going to help you the most.
So really being able to evaluate an individual, seeing where their strengths and weaknesses are is definitely key in order to making sure that you develop them in the right way and help them grow. Even in the aspect of, we can tie this to the professional setting. There may be certain skills and resources that you have or that you lack, and really getting that criticism and constructive criticism can help you to develop and grow. Where do you see the biggest opportunity for growth within the coaching and teaching industry?
Well, first of all, the kids got to trust you. They got to know you love them. And they got to know that you care more about them than just in their job, in the job place or in football, etc. So they will know if you care and you love them. At the end of my career, every day, I hugged the guys and I told them I loved them. Now, they were kind of leery when they started, but if it happened someday, I did, and they said, Coach, are you mad at me today? I see these guys now 20 years later, 15 years later, 30 years later, and we all tell each other, I love you. And so trust and love is the important thing. Is where's the industry going? The industry is going to where that you've got to have a more rounded athlete. You've got to be able to incorporate more audio visual. You've got to be able to incorporate more the nutrition. And that's a big issue with high school athletes. So many of them are not getting the proper nutrition that they need. So and you've got to sell them on, it's not just the individual, but the more success the program has, the more success and honors the individual that's going to get. So your audio visual is a big thing. In education, it's become, and I'll share this story with you. For years, I taught social studies, and I'd ask the kids in class, how many of you would like to be a teacher? There'd be one shy little hand go up. And I'd say, well, why wouldn't the rest of you like to be teachers? Coach, would you want to put up with us? I'd say, hey, I'll put up with you every day. And then I'd ask them this question. How many of you, or who's going to teach your children and your grandchildren? Well, that time is here. There's not young teachers coming out of college. If they do, they'll work a year to 5 years in teaching and get out. Older teachers are getting out as quickly as they can. And this is not just in Texas, this is nationwide. Now, I would tell you how I would like to see changes go.
Yes, please.
Instead of just being audio visual, which has got to happen, technology with less teachers, I would like to see the states drop the state mandated tests. And the reason I think that they should drop them, number one, you're taking 6 weeks to 2 months of instruction out of the classroom. That's an opportunity for the teachers to build relationships, to teach subject matter, to help them think, do, etc. And I don't think that you can show me scores have improved since the state mandated testing has been going on in every state. What could happen in the state of Texas if you put $70 million a year into teacher salaries or security versus paying it to the companies that develop the tests and things? So I hope in the future, the parents, the educators, and hopefully the politicians will see that we need to change the way we're trying to teach the kids and go back to developing relationships. Every one of us is either turned on or turned off to education by a teacher. Every one of us. I chose to try to be someone who would turn more people on to education than I did turn them off. I was a teacher first, coach second. I have certain reasons. I wore a shirt and tie for the last 25 years I taught the class, a jacket, a suit. And the reason I did, I wanted to set a professional example for the kids. I got tired of hearing teachers talk about that coaches never dress professionally, etc. Perception is everything. If you want to be important, look important.
I love that. So really having that essence of dressing for success, we hear that all the time. And then as far as having that passion for others, really investing in a different individual, that's what it's going to take in order for you to be a good teacher, be a good coach, and not just look at it as a job or a task, but as a passion of yours, and knowing that you're going to make an impact, not just right now, but for years and years to come. I love that. I really love that. What would you say to someone that is looking to start out in this particular industry, who's looking to be a coach, who wants to be a teacher? What advice would you have for them?
Well, first of all, you got to have the passion. You got to have the desire. It's got to be for the kids, not for your own self. The championships, all the things that you win are great. But the true measure of you as a teacher or coach is the relationships and the successes that you have of your students, athletes, students, etc. as you go through life. That's what I enjoy most. The fact that they come back years later and they relate back to me and they say, thank you. Thank you for giving me a ride home. Thank you for caring about me. And if I may share this story, and there's lots of people out there today. There's so few male influences in the home, positive influences in the home today, it's unbelievable. Many years ago, I had this young lady in class. Her name's Lynn. Lynn was living with the ex-girlfriend of her dad, and the girlfriend was the airline stewardess. In other words, Lynn basically had a place to stay, and that was it. Smartest kid I had in class. And she'd do just little bitty things to get attention. And years later, when she became a Facebook friend of me, and I said to her, Lynn, I always felt like it was going to be a great mind to go to waste. And she said, Coach, you're exactly right. It took me years to get it. And she has a son today, and she is prouder of that young man than anything in the world. One of our friends put on Facebook, said, if you could have anything back that you'd lost in your life, what would you like to have back? People put a mom, a dad, a sibling, or this or that, or whatever. She made a statement. I'd like to have my childhood back. Now think about how many kids today that have no childhood, that they just live on the couch, they live under a bridge, they live from place to place, etc. And then we wonder why we have so many issues in the world today. As a teacher and a coach at the end, I got the kids that nobody else wanted. The ones that are going to fall through the crack. And so if I had to give them a little extra attention, I had to give them a little extra time, etc., it was worthwhile. And many of those have come back today to thank me for it years later. In life, you remember two types of people. The ones that did something extremely outstanding are the ones that did something really bad. The ones that really fall through the crack now are the ones that are in the middle that don't get any attention or very little attention. Everyone needs love. And let me just say this, kids have not changed in the 50 plus years I've been in education. Parents have changed big time, society's changed, and technology's changed. The kids still need love, they need stability, and they need certain foundation rules that they're held to, standards.
Yes, and I'm glad that you mentioned standards. Just one more question. How important is discipline or even inserting discipline when trying to develop a leader or an athlete or to improving their skills? How important is the aspect of discipline?
Self-discipline is the most important. And you have to get people where they are willing to do the things they don't want to do to be successful. It's easy to say, I want to be successful, but am I going to give up certain fun things? Am I going to work extra? Am I going to do this and that? Am I going to sacrifice to be successful? And what you want to do is, as much as you can in the team aspect of discipline, you want to make them some way, positively, negatively, whichever, you make them bond together. The old way was through military style things, that you suffered together, that you became esprit de corps. Today, you've got to make it a lot more fun. And you've got to explain to them what you're doing, how you're doing, and you got them to build into them. But the end result is, in every one of our lives, self-confidence and self-discipline is the most important thing. It's easy to get up in the morning and say, well, I don't want to. What's going to happen when you say that? Get up, dress up, and statistics show that when you get up, dress up, you feel better and you're going to go and do a better job.
I absolutely agree with that. Speaking to all of the entrepreneurs, those same principles actually apply. It's very hard to work for yourself, but the first thing you got to do is get up, get out of bed, and do what you have to do. And self-discipline is a huge aspect in that. Professionalism as well. Those are really, really key aspects that contribute to making sure that you're a great entrepreneur, but also an awesome leader. I know that you also mentioned love, really expressing love and showing that not only am I disciplining you, I'm not doing this to be hard, but I do love you. And the fact that you told me earlier you would have them shake your hand afterwards and say thank you after that discipline. Can you share with us why you would do that?
Well, I ended up at I was responsible for the discipline. And I took care of a lot of things because of years of experience and was given the opportunity of the head coach. So in disciplining them, when I got through with them, I shook their hands and I made them tell me, thank you, coach, for giving me an opportunity to improve. And I did it for various reasons. One, to let them know I loved them. Number two, to let them know I wasn't mad at them. And number three, if mama said anything about it, then I could say, look, whoa, wait a minute. And let me just say this. It's a tough world today out there. And there's so many homes, that, especially young men, there's not a male figure, a positive male figure. Mom is doing it. And I'll share this one story with you, and it's really illustrates the point. I got a call one morning that there was this mom up in the office beside herself. And they said, well, you need to get up here. And I said, well, tell me who the child is. And they told me, and I thought, wow, I can't imagine anybody getting known to him, yada, yada, as far as that goes. Excuse me. So I go up there. The mom is beside herself, crying. And I said, well, what is wrong? And she said, I'm a single mom. You're wearing ties today on game day. I don't know how to teach him to tie a tie. And we got into it about it. Can you teach him how to tie a tie? I thought to myself, if that's the hardest thing I have to handle today, it's going to be a great day. So I took him down there. I got a tie. I showed him how to tie a tie. And I told him, I said, don't you ever let me hear you getting on your mom like that again. She is doing the best job she possibly can to help raise you. So we all have issues today, and trying to see the big picture, trying to put yourself in position and communicate. I hate it the day that people can't communicate and they want to do it with social media, then they block you. Well, that's not being very mature. So sit down, listen to each other's thoughts, and compromise and work things out. And we don't do that as a society, and we don't do it as a world today. And so, we as coaches, we invest in the lives of the kids. We teach and coach. And that's what you're doing. You have to have a passion. And I today have moved to this little town, Navasota, and I have a passion for that town. I advertise for it every day. I work for it, and it gives me, along with other things I do, an opportunity to express my passion. I hope I never get to the point that I can't learn something every day, that I don't have a passion to get up and to go and be involved, and especially with young people. Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. It was an absolute pleasure. Again, Coach, could you possibly tell our audience exactly how they may contact you and reach out to you, maybe Facebook or something of that nature, if they would like to maybe just get some encouragement?
Certainly. If you look on Facebook, it's Bobby Gentry, It's Bobby W. Gentry, and I'm the old ball coach. If you want to reach me, it's bobby.gentry@att.net, and I will do my best to get back with you. I love to meet people, and I love this young lady, and I can assure you that I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't taken it on myself to introduce myself to her in Navasota, Texas.
Yes, it was an awesome time. Well, please, thank you again, and I just want to let you know it was a pleasure having you here, and we hope to see you again. Thank you again.